So here I am with Miss Teresa Davis, and we in Maryland, Baltimore, having crabs, the best place in the world to get them. Would you agree?
You already know Baltimore's a place to get crabs.
Where we get these crabs from?
These came from down on Pratt Street, the crab industry area, district of crabs. Y'all already know what it is if you had crabs. So you know, sea crab. That's about to get some crabs from.
Okay. So, yeah, I want to talk to you and ask you a few questions about what you got going on in the near future, 2018. We're in now,
Okay.
and what I want to ask you is, I know that you got a few films in working and whatnot. What I want to ask you is the progress on your Perkaset film that you got, which is presumably supposed to air in 2018.
Yes.
Okay, enlighten us on that. Tell us more about it.
Just give me goosebumps. I can't wait till this movie drop. Perkaset. Perkaset is going to be set to drop 2018. We are definitely coming really, really close to the last couple of stages of filming. And we got some big surprises for you guys. You want to know what it's about? Or what do you want to know?
Tell me about the movie. Tell me some of the process of making the movie. How did you go about getting some of the actors for the movie, and just give me a little bit of dialogue on.
Okay, Percocet.
Okay.
So, the way it originated, I'm an author first. I'm a writer of 5 novels.
Okay.
And I have novels like let me see one. Okay. I don't know if I can say this, but Dope Dick, that's one of my really big ones. Hysterectomy in the Hood, Ghetto Misery Uncut, those type of books. So I write about the inner city. So I decided to write Percocet because my business partner, Leonard Coleman, was actually under the weather. He was sick at the time.
Okay.
And he had this mysterious thing happen to his leg. That's called cellulitis of the skin. And it just started to break down. So he had to learn how to walk all over again. And he had an operation, and during that process, they gave him oxycodone and Percocet. And it was funny because he denied that he wouldn't take them. I think he just took the one and he just threw the rest away. But it was funny because I was like, you know what? In order to kind of cheer this guy up, I was like, I think we're gonna do a movie. I'm gonna call it Percocet. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, it's gonna be about you. You're gonna have the leading role per se. You're gonna have it's gonna center around you. He was like, oh, okay. So I started cheering him up, and so I started out to be a short. And all of a sudden, it started to loom. It started to get bigger. Next thing I know, it was just a gigantic type of situation here in Baltimore. People started getting in the movie. You asked me how did I get the people to be in the movie. We actually have actors from my very first film called Ghetto Misery Uncut. So we got some of those actors, and then we by word of mouth, people just started wanting to be in Percocet. Once we told people what we're doing, we're creating awareness. We want to shake you. We want to be repulsive. We want to be craft. We want to be vile. When you say what, we want to show you what's happening with the Percocets in our city, with our youth and how they're using drugs, and what's happening to our society as a whole with the pharmaceutical drugs, and who are the actual drug dealers.
I remember in a conversation we were having once before, you told me that the drug dealer now can just stand on the corner with a lab coat on. Kind of.
Yeah.
Where were you going with that when you said that?
Well, it's pretty much an acronym. So when I say the lab coat, it represents the pharmaceutical drug industry, how they sign off on painkillers. Instead, if you're watching this, if you have a young youth or maybe a child that plays sports and they get hurt and you take them to see a physician, always ask, what's the alternative to giving my child oxycodone or, some type of drug or promethazine? What's the alternative to that? So that's what we're trying to teach, instead of getting that, oxycodone or Vicodin or what have you, why don't you ask for, Tylenol, PM, and just see how it goes. Instead of putting them on something so hard that it's hard to get off of. Because that's what a lot of kids say that is how they were introduced. Then we have our elderlies. I want to talk about them as well. The elderly, sometimes they have arthritis, they have gout, all these conditions, and they are prescribed these, pharmaceutical drugs, which are opiates, and things like that, when they could be, describe other things to alternative to that. So we want to talk about that because it is very addictive, and it's hard seeing grandma. You may not notice that grandma is addicted. She goes to bed every night, but she takes 3 or 4 pills, and she likes that euphoria where she can go to sleep, and she's into this seventh heaven, if you will, and it's just it's hard to say out loud, but it's true, it's happening.
Okay. Not only that, I noticed the influence of hip hop and music. I'm tied into the hip hop culture myself, and I noticed that with the hip hop culture, there's a lot of influence on Percocet use and Molly and stuff like that. A lot of opiate use, which is kind of different from the generation I was used to when they might have glamorized the one who was the dealer. Now it's like they glamorize the user.
It's funny you say that.
Yeah.
Wow. It's funny you say that. It's a perpetuation of, great artists. Don't get me wrong, they're great artists. A lot of rappers and artists here in Baltimore.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And in New York City, everywhere, LA, Atlanta, the music, king. There are, I believe, being positioned, if you will. And I don't want to get too deep, but I'm just being honest. Like, I believe it's like people that have that talent, they're being used to facilitate and to, if you will, just be a spokesperson for that drug. You have the numbers, you have the people watching, you have the young people listening. Why don't we filter the music with this, and then we can make money on the pharmaceutical end, and you can wear your jewelry and your clothes and drive your fancy cars, and you can live in your big condos and just do this for us. I know it may sound far-fetched, but it's deeper than what I'm trying to scratch. But yeah.
So, okay, outside of raising awareness, what is your ultimate goal in the Percocet movie? What do you plan on doing with the movie outside of, just raising awareness?
It's far more than raising awareness.
Okay.
I'm also an entertainer.
Mm-hmm.
So I intend to entertain. I intend to woo you. I intend to trap you. I intend to bring you in. I intend to, if you're not a person who is of the world, or a person who doesn't know these types of, things happen under your nose, I tend to pull all that back and let you see.
Mm-hmm.
As with a dose of overdosing off my entertainment. It's still entertainment. I'm a writer, and I think that I am a renowned writer in myself. I've written 5 novels, but I've actually published 5, but I've also completed 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know that each one has nothing to do with the other. Just one I have that's a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
But I bring you different. I bring you the unusual, and I can stamp that. Most dope houses and dope dealers and dope houses, they have a stamp they use, and they stamp their product. If you've seen American Gangster, they stamp their product, things like that. That really happens. And I stamp this movie. I stamp my approval. I endorse this. I'm saying that you're gonna love it. I'm saying that you're gonna be shaken, and you're gonna be, repulsive and I don't know, revolt. You will see something very different.
Yeah, I believe myself that it's very needed here in the city of Baltimore with the epidemic that's going on here. Awareness is the beginning of it, and I think you're doing great things with your movie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And also, let me ask you a question. Okay, you don't just have actors; you have real people in the movie, maybe addicts and things like that. Mm-hmm. Elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely love to talk about that. I'm glad you asked me that, Mr. Poole, because I believe that I am a product of my environment, as well as a person who struggles to be something different. Okay. I'm determined to be something different, but I can't lose sight on where I'm from. There's nothing for me to go have a beer in the city on the steps with my friends. And some of my friends, I gotta tell you, I miss you guys. I know you see me working really hard, but it's not for me to go out there, sit outside, have maybe, some, I don't know, lemonade, ice cream, just hang out with my peoples, because I love my people. And I'm never going to forget, where I'm from. What I'm going to do is remember what I have to do to help those that are there where I am from, meaning my family and my friends first. So some of your families can become more, your friends can become more family than you realize. So I shout out to the inner city. But yeah, we like to use the people who are going through, the people who are hurt, the people who feel the pain that we speak of, and the people who are seeking recovery. We talk a lot about recovery in this movie because we want to touch bases on that, because that's what we see every day. When I looked out my window as a child, I saw hurt, I saw pain, I saw happiness, I saw people flourishing, I saw people struggling, I saw both sides of everything. So we want to use some of those people. We use the recovering addict because they love to be a part, and they tell their stories better than anyone can tell their stories. So shout out to everyone who's came apart, who says, I want to be in your movie. And shout out to the panhandlers. Shout out to the people who sleep outside. They're real people who have real hearts, and they have real souls and have real stories. I could go on and on, but yeah, we do use a lot of real people with real stories who can touch and be in tune with what's happening to them.
So let me ask you about, do you feel that you will be ridiculed by the dealer? Like, okay, you're raising this awareness and you're trying to get people healed and you're trying to get people recovered. Meanwhile, I'm the one that's putting the product out on the street. I mean, how does that,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you don't get talked about, then you're not doing anything. So I welcome it. I wait for it. I know it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gonna happen. Mm-hmm. So shoot your best shot.
That's it. And in closing, you got anything?
Sure, I got a lot.
Go ahead. Closing us out, Miss Davis.
I thank everybody in Baltimore. If you're watching this, Baltimore is my city. Baltimore has been stood behind me, with me, beside me in a lot of things that I do. They have definitely supported me through some of the changes in my life. They've been there. Through the ups and downs and through the great times. I've smiled with a lot of people. I've been hurt with a lot of people. I felt a lot of people pain. But I just want to say that Baltimore has been definitely there for me. And there's no other city like my city. Be warm. Thanks for talking to me, James, Mr. Pope.
All right. Peace and love.